Hello, and welcome to the Fresh Air Show. What is up, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Fresh Air Show.
Hello!
Hello! Summer, it's here once again. And, yep.
Look at all that beautiful rain outside.
Yep. Yeah, this is, from the looks of things on YouTube, it looks like we're outside, but this is actually the studio. This is just another major redecorating, so...
Well, around mine it's been a bit too hot.
Yep. So, we've already had a thunderstorm here, so, yeah, that's...
That was fun.
Maybe, but Oscar was petrified, so...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because we don't get thunderstorms that often, and so normally when one comes around, we close the blinds and give Oscar plenty of places to hide, and there's one apparently going to happen this week, so yeah, just keep that in mind.
Ooh.
So...
Well, we know of a certain corgi that wouldn't mind for thunderstorms, don't we, Rowan?
So you finally admitted defeat.
Admit it.
I think I'm going to have to, unless I'm told differently, because it seems like everybody else is on your side. So.
Yep.
You
Yamper.
admit defeat.
Yamper is a corgi. Yeah. So, how have you guys been since the last podcast?
It's alright. Not much going on.
I was great up until half an hour ago.
What do you mean?
Well, I just came off of seeing 2001 Space Odyssey.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it broke my brain. I'm barely hanging in there. No.
Wow. I've not seen it yet, but I do know that Hal is the inspiration for GLaDOS in Portal, so yeah.
Oh.
Dave,
What?
my mind is going.
Well, I won't go massively into the film, but I'll just say, if you think, 2001 Space Odyssey, it's going to be entirely about Hal and what happens with him, that whole thing lasts about 10 minutes of the film. So brace yourselves.
Right. Well, speaking of movies, this summer, I've been enjoying the lineup that's come up this year. So yeah, Toy Story 4, that was out there.
So I've heard.
So, yeah, somehow Pixar managed to do the impossible by continuing off from what was supposedly the perfect ending and adding more to the story and having a more supposedly definitive ending. So yeah.
Well, so it's just, as we were saying, so we're not to go to massive spoilers, because it's just me and Dan who've seen it out of the three of us, I think. But, like, I have to say, it is, after a lot of convincing, I went to see it, and it was worth the watch. Like, there is some, like, stuff that needed some clarification. Like, it didn't need to be made, but it is an enjoyable film.
Yeah.
And it leaves it open for possible sequels if they ever did 5 and 6 or something.
I don't know. I'm not sure they're able to make Toy Story 5 now, because Jim Varney, the voice of Slinky Dog, he's passed away, and the voice, along with the guy who voices Lenny, the binoculars, and now we've lost Don Rickles, the voice of Mr. Potato Head. So I'm not sure how they're gonna replace his actors. So I'm not sure they can continue from there.
I imagine it would go separate from Bonnie's toys and follow on with the carnival toys. Especially after the rabbit and the chick, they were pretty hilarious. I want to see more of them too.
Ducky and Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were needed in this. They were quite amazing comic reliefs. Because their plans of getting out of situations are some of the most extreme and terrifying, and it's hilarious.
They kind of answer what if scenarios with humour, which is really clever.
Yeah. What if we attack this old lady?
Wow.
Also, speaking of terrifying, I didn't know Slappy the dummy from Goosebumps was in this movie.
No! He has escaped.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
him and his brothers, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
there's
there
more
are
than
4.
one. Oh. And well done, Pixar, because I guess because Toy Story 3's been out for years, I've kind of forgotten what parts were meant to be scary. Like, I think the scariest part of that movie was when they're trying to escape Sunnyside and Big Baby's there on the swing, and one of the aliens trips up and he turns his head all the way around in that split second, you know?
And the monkey on the security cameras.
Yep. But, jeez, there must have been at least 5 times that those dummies have made me jump. Because they're in. For those who don't know, due to some shenanigans, Woody and the new toy Forky end up in a pawn shop, and it's full of antique toys that want to steal Woody's voice box so they can have theirs work, and it sounds pretty terrifying, but I'll let you watch the movie first and you'll know what I mean.
I want to add a little film theory here.
Mm-hmm.
That little pawn shop that Woody goes to. Do you remember in the second one when Stinky Pete was saying, I spent a lifetime in a dime store shelf watching every other toy being sold. I was kind of thinking, would they make a reference to show that was the store he used to sit in?
Well, it's likely out there, so...
I mean, it would be a massive coincidence, but...
So yeah, this movie is definitely one of the more darker of the Toy Story movies, because all throughout the trailers, they introduce this character, Forky, who's basically an arts and crafts model that Bonnie creates in school, and it comes to life, and it kind of dives into the psychology a little bit, like, I'm not supposed to be a toy, I belong in the trash. Like, you know, I think there's some people out there who might think that's pretty deep or something, you know? So...
Some symbolism in there.
Yeah.
Also, did you watch all the post-credit scenes, Dan?
I stuck around for quite a few of them, yes. Was there anyone, like, right at the end I wasn't aware of?
This time I didn't actually wait till the end of the credits, so if people want to inform us about a clip, then do, because I kind of wish I had, but...
So, yeah. Rowan, what are your thoughts on it so far, like, before you go in to see it?
It sounds really interesting. Saying that it's one of the darker ones is like, oh, really? How can Toy Story get much darker than the furnace scene?
Yeah.
I still think the third one's the darkest, personally. But I have to say, going into it, I'd heard people found the start sad and the end really sad. So, without knowing any context, what would you expect would be sad at the end of this?
Did he actually die this time?
I did wonder.
Well, I did wonder that myself, but let's just say from the way they're advertising Woody in this movie, that might give you a hint as to what happens, but that's all I'll say. So.
Okay.
You're listening to The Fresh Air Show. So, in terms of watching through things through summer, I recently successfully am now officially caught up with Agretsuko.
Yes!
Yes.
So, yeah, for those of you who don't know about this show,
So you have anime, and it's slice of life. Now, when you think slice of life, you think like high school girls, like finding romance, finding what you want to do, that kind of thing, all that fluffy stuff.
yeah.
This is real slice of life, like
Mm.
slice of real life.
Yeah.
When after the high school, after the hopes and the dreams and the romances, this is a story of Retsuko, a red panda, I'll get to that in a second, who works a job as an accountant to a big company.
Yeah.
She's somewhat jaded, somewhat disillusioned with life, and she has a few friends, but it's not like massive adventures. It's just slogging through the day, and as boring as that sounds, it's like you see her frustrations with things like her boss and her work life and how she deals with it and how she plans to get out of it.
Mm. So,
All told through the cutesy art style of anthropomorphic animals.
yeah,
Anime style.
particularly the same people who produced Hello Kitty, so you might recognize the style.
So basically, Hello Kitty grows up, becomes jaded, gets a job.
Yeah, because on that note, I am actually starting my first official job, so yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it's just to
Not accounting, I take it.
no, it's to be secretive. Let's just say I work in the cellar of a particular establishment in terms of deliveries, and so already I'm beginning to relate to Agretsuko because at the very beginning of the series, you see her and her classmates graduating, and then it suddenly cuts to 5 years later when she's working at her job. And
Eating it.
yeah, because it's my job currently it looks fascinating because I'm quite a compulsive organizer and this job seems perfect for me. And so it's quite ironic as well because me and Rowan are due to graduate this year as well. So yeah.
I think I watched someone's review of Agretsuko and they put it really well. They said how it came out at a great time for people like my age, like me being 27, and Retsuko is supposed to be 25, I think.
Yeah.
And it's showing, like, it's a bit like how, even though I say I haven't watched a lot of it, maybe I've watched quite a few clips on YouTube, how My Little Pony tackles loads and loads of different issues and seems to seems to give really good messages. But Agretsuko is for those people who are 25, and it's for like it does, even though it looks like Hello Kitty and stuff like that, it is that sort of age group's anime, and it does actually sort of teach you about different things and stuff, which is really cool.
On that note, if you're thinking about showing your kids, do not be fooled by its art style. It's pretty adult.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like how there's the episode where Retsuko's she's at a singles night. I'll just say that, and someone points out that one of the guys points out she looks like one of those old, I don't know what the name is, characters. They're referencing Hello Kitty directly by saying it.
Right.
Which also I have to ask. So, who is everyone's favourite character from Agretzko?
Well, my favorite, I'd have to say, is Fenico.
Same here.
Because she's like one of the most brutally honest characters out there. Like, she just... And just that laugh that she does, like... like, that's not even meant to be
Like, she just
sarcastic. Every time she laughs, that's literally what comes out, just
Yeah, she just says the word ha 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 instead of actually laughing.
It's hilarious.
I think I'm going to have to say Retzko is my favourite because, bizarrely, like I was saying about her being relatable, I find her so relatable. It's like there's a couple of characters I've seen and stuff recently, but I think, Jesus, they're like one stone's throw away from being me. like, I mean, even I've had to deal with some strange case characters at work, like how Retzko deals with an eye, and it's so relatable. It's like, but even though I haven't found the right ground with this person, I know, but it was comparable to the situation. So, and I think I'll just say this. Obviously, a load of people will ship Hyder with Retzko. I personally would like Hyder to end up with Fenico.
Yeah. It's possible.
Alright. So yeah, Gretzko's out there for the adult audience. If you
They feel like their time is running out to do things with their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking
Because
of...
it kind of tackles that as well.
Yeah. You know, speaking of running out of time, you mentioned My Little Pony earlier, Dudley. And, yeah, that's quite the interesting fandom out there. Being a late 90s kid, you know, parents and grandparents are always sort of teasing kids. Like, they see a toy or a show advertised for the opposite gender, and you're like, I bet you want that for Christmas. And it's like, no. Like, that's normally where most opinions sort of are based on. Like, My Little Pony was out there as one of those shows that I loathed growing up. Like, ugh.
Just because it was pink and girly.
Yeah, like, yeah, because I had Ben 10 and Camp Lazlo and all those shows. And when Gen 4, aka Friendship is Magic of My Little Pony, was released, eventually, over the years, the internet grew more accustomed to the ponies, and eventually I kept seeing them everywhere, and I was like, alright, I give up. Let's take a look and see if they're really worth looking into. And yeah, there were some things I had to get used to. Like, I eventually learned to deal with the My Little Pony theme song, and now I know it off by heart. But the show is actually really smart because of its symbolism with friendships and relationships. Whether it be
it's a children's show, but it's not like a stupid show.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't like hold your hand through the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like,
it has really clever writing.
This is good.
Yeah, and the episode's ideas are actually really smart, whether it be a magical character literally bottling up their emotions, or whether it be someone rediscovering their past and how they learn from their past mistakes, etc. And yet, people still slag it off for saying, oh, you learn your life lessons from a TV show for little girls. And I thought, shows evolve. And this is coming from the same people who likely watched the Powerpuff Girls and Fifi and the Flower Tots.
Don't diss Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff Girls was amazing.
Yeah. Because I had no problems with either of those shows. If it wasn't interesting, I wouldn't watch it, but I would at least give it a try. And yes, I would watch those other two shows quite frequently. But it was. You could learn a few things from them, and they were quite emotional. So yeah.
I think I need to check it out, but I remember seeing clips from The Princess Bride, like the film.
Ah,
And
that's another film I saw recently.
Yeah, did you like it?
Yes.
But the funny thing is, you're not going to go around shouting, "I watched Princess Bride this weekend," because it's just labelled with that title. Like it kind of. It's a bit like how My Little Pony. It's a good show, but because the title is aimed towards the opposite gender. You know what I mean?
Right. So, yeah. Don't judge a book by its cover, because you might end up enjoying it.
You are listening to the Fresh Air Show.
Well, it's time for everyone's favourite segment. The month's most ridiculous headlines. Alright. In this month's news, a Christmas camp is now available for adults. So,
during July?
yeah, apparently this is an all-year thing. Yeah, apparently...
I knew it. I always knew it. I always told my family, we keep bringing in Christmas things so much earlier to the point where it'll be happening in July.
Jeez.
It's happened. It's finally happened.
Yeah, apparently this is a camp where for adults who consistently love Christmas and still hold the Christmas spirit all throughout the year and apparently never let it go. So, yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. Sorry.
Surprisingly,
Sorry,
that movie's set in summer. So. So, yeah. So, now people have a good excuse to sing Swinter from Phineas and Ferb. There's snow on the ground and sleigh bells all around, but the sun's beaming down 'cause it's Swinter. So, yeah.
Or we could have Olaf going past singing, "It's summer."
I wouldn't be surprised if he was the mascot or something.
But I don't. If you're having a event where it's celebrating good cheer and stuff like that, and maybe some presents thrown in, it could be good. But it being Christmas seems a bit off. Like if it was differently named.
Smithmas.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, in Gravity Falls, they have like
Summerween.
Yeah, Summerween, where it's apparently an early Halloween set in summer. So
yeah.
I kind of thought of this reference, but there's that old Super Mario cartoon where Mario wants to stop all the cavemen arguing by making it Christmas, even though there's no like winter in the cave world place they are. So he creates Cave Christmas, and there's that. But I don't know. This is just tying back into what we were saying earlier. But it turns out Tara Strong, who voiced Twilight, also voiced some of the Kooperlings from that show as well, which was quite cool.
Tara Strong, the voice of a million characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she actually voices young Ben 10, so yeah, she's been all over the place.
She's a talented lady.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, oh jeez, I just remembered this headline that was brought up. Now, if you are squeamish, just be warned, this next headline is pretty gruesome, so if you want to be spared it, please skip to 2820. Now,
I'm pressing the number. It's not working. I can't do it.
Now, apparently, well, I'll just tell the story of what happened. So, there was this woman who planned to have a sunbathing session out in her garden in London, And she goes ahead, puts the lotion on, and she falls asleep in her deck chair.
Oh dear.
And all of a sudden, she hears this loud crashing noise in her garden, and
Oh dear.
it immediately stirs her up, and the part of her garden near the fence was absolutely trashed, and she was like, "Did a car just crash into my garden?" And she had a look around, and to her horror, she finds this half-frozen corpse in her garden.
What?
Apparently, absolutely horrified, she called the police, who then identified the man as a stowaway who fell from a passing plane.
Oh.
So, yeah, that happened.
What, the stowaway
Apparently,
was half frozen?
Yeah, because
Like
imagine.
you're in like the luggage area, there's no heating or anything
Hmm.
because there's not supposed to be any living things in there. So
Yeah.
No. But is it that cold? Like
Well,
ice cold?
yeah,
That-
you're a
imagine
million
this,
feet in the
Dudley.
air.
Imagine this. Imagine sticking your head out of the window of a car. Now, imagine that car's going at 700 miles an hour. And now, imagine it's 5,000 feet up. It's that cold.
Yeah.
So, this unfortunate stowaway froze to death and fell from the plane and unfortunately landed in this woman's back garden. So, yeah, poor guy.
I have to wonder how it managed to fall out.
Like,
Is there an opening somewhere?
maybe, I think where he was hiding was like the wheel compartments, because you know how the wheels like sort of tuck away.
Oh.
So maybe the wheels were opening up and preparing to land, and he just so happened to fall out. So, yeah.
Not a smart plan, mate.
Stupid deaths, they're funny because they're true. Sorry.
Is it?
Horrible histories. I mean,
I remember that.
they are making a movie, apparently, so, yeah.
Really?
Is it in bad taste to say it's kind of ironic that the woman was sunbathing and then a frozen guy lands on her garden? Like,
Exactly.
like the,
Oh,
Oh
God.
no, I was actually expecting it to be like a sun-related injury, like it burned all their skin off, but this works too.
Ugh. Like, if that woman was deaf, I think it would have been a much bigger shock. Like, if she just turned over and lifted up her glasses and she saw the corpse there, like, ah!
Oh god!
Ugh. So, yeah.
I caught a headline the other day actually that has been a lot. It just seems like that. Basically, it was saying about sharks. Like, it seems like great whites are popping up all around the UK at the moment, like in the last few months. Yeah. So, and people were saying it's global warming because the water's getting hotter and stuff like that. And then we went to the beach the other day and I saw that post that night or the night after. Like, it didn't make me think, oh God, but I thought it's not unheard of now. It sounds like we're getting the big sharks in. And I used to have a book about deadly creatures and it would say whereabouts they were in the world. And if it was a sea creature like a shark, it would say what coasts you could find them off of. And for killer whales, every shore in every country was highlighted, even ours.
Jeez.
So I was like, so we can get killer whales.
You know, that's not unheard of, because earlier this year, there was, off the coast of the UK, there was like a submarine missile test or something, and that disturbed a flock of... Is it a flock? Is that what you call a group of killer whales? Pod.
A pod.
Right, so it disturbed this pod of killer whales and caused them to retreat into our local rivers. for safety. So, yeah, that's out there.
Makes sense.
So, we're gonna need to do another sort of light-hearted headline here, just to distract away from the corpse one. A 6-year-old.
Corpses and the sharks.
Well, this is more of a funny one. A 6-year-old girl has drawn chickenpox all over her body just to skip school.
Typical.
That's just
That,
that's an old school.
Oldest trick in the book.
Yeah.
so that's the best they could do for a headline.
Well, you know, anti-vax parents exist for some reason, and apparently they don't allow unvaccinated kids into schools now until
As they should.
yeah. So get your kids vaccinated if you want an education, dummy. So yeah,
Your kids need vaccines and your dogs need meat.
yeah, because I had chickenpox myself, and I'm still alive, but it has left a few divots around my body from where I've accidentally scratched it. So, yeah.
How old were you when you had chickenpox?
4, I think. So,
Do you want to know how old I was when I had chickenpox?
oh,
15.
15?
Yeah, and it got me out of a week of exams at school.
Jeez.
Was practice exams.
Ugh.
So all the stress of that. But I mean, I did have to retake one of them or something next year when I actually had my GCSEs.
Mm,
But it was kind of like, oh, don't have to go through that plight. So
yeah, I don't know whether to laugh or cry at that, because I'm one of
I thought
those
it was
few
funny,
people who like to work. So,
I was thinking like, I was actually getting worried because I was like, oh, I don't want to have chickenpox when I'm like 80 or something, because that's meant to be like really bad. The worse, the older you are, the worse it is supposedly.
Hmm.
But have you had chickenpox, Rowan?
Nope.
jeez, you're lucky.
You know
Now,
why?
well,
No.
I don't
Because
know.
my mum is a nurse.
Oh, that's
She
convenient.
knows. Well, was, but point still stands.
Nice.
I have had all of my immunizations.
You know, there's a lot of these weird, there's a lot of weird rumors that go around with certain injuries, like, urban legends, I guess. There's one surrounding chickenpox, which might have been brought up in quite a few cartoons. Apparently, the reason why kids get chickenpox, and this is just a theory that cartoons developed. Apparently, if the windows on a summer day are left open, you have
A chicken sneaks in and starts pecking at you.
yeah, apparently, and
Was that one from Dexter's Lab?
I think so. And if you scratch them too
I remember
much,
that
you turn into a chicken yourself.
That does sound like something people would come up with, like parents would come up with to make their child not scratch.
Yeah, I mean that does kind of make sense. Like, don't scratch these deadly lumps, or else you'll turn into a chicken yourself.
Yeah, all those classic Cartoon Network shows were great. Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab and all that stuff.
Yeah. You
And
know,
they got away with a lot as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know that? I think. Do you reckon? Do you reckon the reason that curses exist is because people don't want children touching these priceless artifacts? Like, like, if they have like a curse
Don't
item.
touch that urn, or the genie will come out and steal your toes.
Yeah, don't touch this mystical Maori warrior mask, or else the goat god of Greek mythology will come to life and eat your plants or something.
Wait, I thought Maori and Greek were separate. No, child. What?
Yeah, this is all true. It's all true because I'm telling you.
I saw it. It was horrible. The sheep ate their plants. Who said it was a goat? Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm learning from the last podcast and this podcast that I don't think Dan likes goats. Like last time he was putting them out on water, and now he's scared of the goat gone.
It's just I don't.
Dan, what's your thing with goats?
I don't know. It's just anytime I need
What's
to.
your tragic backstory, Dan?
I don't know. Anytime I need to
Did
turn.
a goat kill your parents?
No.
Did the goat kill your fish before you got to?
Fish. No, it's just anytime I need to turn to a random animal, it seems like the goat's always the go-to for it.
Well, that's a very bad idea.
So, yeah. Next,
Laugh, damn it.
I'm gonna. I'll laugh over the jingle.
I'm Randy Newman, and you're listening to the Fresh Air Show. I'm Randy Newman.
So, something I wanted to talk about is that we actually have ourselves a question from a fan.
Yay!
We haven't had one of those in a while, so they ask, do you use any catchphrases?
I actually find myself every 2 weeks or every month I'll say the same thing for ages, and then I'll notice it after a while, and then that'll fade, and then I'll end up saying something else the next month. So it comes and goes, really.
Well, regular watchers of my channel will know that I use a particularly consistent catchphrase, and that catchphrase is the all-known "Stay fresh." And yes, it's ripped directly from Splatoon.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Callie and Mari. So,
in the context of Splatoon, what does "stay fresh" mean?
I
well,
think it's just a reference to like the 90s, 80s aesthetic they're going with.
Well, I sort of when I came up with my nickname Fresh Powder, I sort of realized that the word fresh can be used to mean a number of different things. Like, for instance, when I say stay fresh, it might mean, stay original, stay creative, or it might just be as simple as, stay fresh, like keep clean or something, So that's an analogy for other things, I find, so
Yep.
simple but effective.
Yeah.
So what about you, Ryan? Do you say any catchphrases?
It depends on your definition of a catchphrase.
Hmm.
A thing I say a lot, usually during conversations, is "yeah."
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's what you say when you can't think of anything else to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. It works.
I think.
Okay.
What was it that MJ says in the new Spider-Man: Far From Home? She learned something, doesn't she? What was it? Like, do you remember, Dan? She says she keeps saying "moo" or something, or.
Oh yeah, when she's when they're in Italy or something, she learns this Italian word, which sounds a bit like "moo," and apparently it can mean a whole variety of different things. Like it can mean thank you, or it can mean like go away or something.
Yeah, like if someone tries to sell you something, you just go "moo," and the guy's like, "Oh, okay, all right," and then goes off. So maybe we should start using that.
Although I probably should look it up before we start using it, because it might be the most offensive thing out there or something. Just before we end it off, I do have a bit of a weird question. What's a weird habit that you've only recently discovered that you do?
Weird habit.
While I give you time to think, I'll tell you about my recent weird habit.
Mm-hmm.
So, Uh, I was helping my family out bring the summer stuff down from the loft or the attic, and occasionally I go up there, and uh, I was looking down, waiting if anyone's ready to grab the next lot of items, and when nobody was around, I realized I'm crouched down on my tiptoes and on like the tips of my fingers, and then I realized why am I doing the classic Spider-Man pose when he's up on the rooftops or something? And 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 that's when it dawned on me. I'm partly scared of heights. So I guess
Ah,
so I guess so whenever I'm in a high place,
you should go to the floor.
yeah, I pretend I'm Spider-Man and do that pose like I'm looking out over the buildings. Like, how can I help you, citizen? And then my parents come up and they're like, "Yes, this is my chance to help people." So
Like,
so yeah.
you pose before you act. I guess.
Yeah. So just bear in mind, if you're scared of heights, pretend you're Spider-Man.
The only thing I can think of that I do is that every time I start like watching a new movie or a new TV series, like something I haven't seen before,
Mhm.
I stop every few minutes, get up, walk around, then come back.
Okay, trying to absorb the story in, I guess.
Maybe coming up with theories and ideas, I guess, or just getting excess energy out. That's why I don't typically watch things at home. I have to be at a cinema because you can't pause and you can't get up because other people don't like that.
Yeah. So, Dudley, anything?
I've tried to rattle my brains to think of some because I definitely do some, but I guess one I've kind of grown to do is not the weirdest, but back when I was a kid, if I missed a line of dialogue in a show or something, then I wouldn't bat an eye. But if someone comes into the room or something now, I always pause it, like so that I can like see what they want or let them do their thing, and then when they go back out, I'll play it again. And I think it's due to like, I guess it's down to like me being kind of shy about what I'm watching. I don't know, like you know.
Oh yeah, there's like this thing that you feel like embarrassed or you feel like you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, even though you're just watching an average movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I had a phase back when I was younger, when I got my first laptop, that every time someone walked into the room, I'd always like snap my laptop closed, even if I was just watching YouTube or something, or just doing something perfectly innocent. I just feel like,
No, there's nothing suspicious here. I'm just watching Mr. Weeble. He's not random at all. So.
It wasn't even that. I was just nervous for no reason at all.
Yeah, and then if you'd shut your laptop, that's when they'd notice and be like, "What were you watching?" You'd just be like, "Funnily enough, nothing that bad." Just like,
No, just my own anxiety.
I like that.
You know, just extending from what you were saying there, Ryan. When we were in the cinema watching Toy Story 4, it was a new one that I'd never heard of, and it was one of those eat seats places where you actually have like this crew of restaurant people deliver cooked meals to you while you're watching the movie. But there was one snag about the cinema, if anything, that I wanted to bring up, is that the rows were one-way rows. Like there wasn't the other side was just the wall, so there wasn't a secondary path. So if you were sitting right in the middle and you had people walking in front of you directly while you're watching the movie, and it's just get out of the way.
Yeah, I can imagine that's pretty bad. Like, imagine if you went with a school and you ordered like 30 pizzas, and then these guys kept walking in front of you. You're trying to watch a film. Oh.
Just be glad
somebody would get slapped.
Yeah, just the only thing I was glad about is that there weren't any pillars in this cinema, because pillars in a cinema is just the absolute worst.
It sounds like you're at the Colosseum rather than the cinema if there were pillars there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's awful.
Well, we're almost out of time here, guys. I need to go to the opticians soon, so I'll catch up with you guys next time. So, hope you enjoy your summer vacation, and don't blame us if you see a corpse landed right next to you. So,
Yes.
Fresh, we told you to stop killing people with your ice powers.
it wasn't me! It wasn't me! Oh, God. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time. And maybe we might even have special guests in the next one. So,
Nice.
see you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Stay warm.
Yeah, for this one, stay warm. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to The Fresh Air Show. Leave a comment down below or email Fresh Powder. See you next month for a whole new slew of content. I'm talking really fast right now because this is what they do at the end of the radio shows.